See? We're live. Hold on. Hold on.
Here we are.
There we go. I used the screen like I said I would, except 5 seconds late. Hello, readers. My name is Charissa, and I'm here with the lovely Jillian Forsberg, author of The Porcelain Menagerie. Hi, Jillian.
Hi, I'm so excited to be back.
Well, we've talked once with Julie, right? So
Yeah.
the first time we talked, I hadn't read your book, and I was supposed to be like surprised. And the whole time you guys were talking about the book, I was irritated with myself, and I'm like, why the hell didn't I read the book? Like, I know that's the whole point for me to go like, wow, that's amazing, super interesting. But then you guys kept talking about the door, and then I'm like, what door are they talking about? And the door actually is about this book, right? So,
Yeah.
Can you give? Well, no. Before we do a quick summary, are you ready for a lightning round? Just to miss that. Okay. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Do you prefer paper books or Kindles?
Paper.
I'm like batting nothing on that. Everybody says the same thing. Audiobooks. Do you listen to them?
I have a confession that the second audiobook I ever listened to was my own.
Okay, so know that. Not really.
Well, but right now, because I'm on book tour, I am listening to a 26-hour long audiobook. So
what are you listening to? What is it? 26 hours?
I'm listening to Dan Brown's Secret of Secrets. I love, art history stuff just gets me going. I love it.
Well, that was my next question on my little card here is favorite historical time period. Go.
18th century, no doubt.
Really? Hands down. Okay.
Hands down.
Castles or cathedrals?
That's so hard.
It's just supposed to be quick and fun. Don't kill yourself.
Castles.
Okay. I was gonna guess castles for you. Renaissance or Regency?
Regency.
Really? I would have thought you said Renaissance. I've seen all your dresses.
Wow. Yeah, it's the dresses for Regency that I like better. I like those little high waists.
Okay, all right. Inventors or explorers?
Inventors. They spend more time in their brains like I do.
Okay. Introvert? Are you an introvert?
I am an introvert who can be an extrovert. What's that called?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I am. As I sit here talking to you, I'm introvert. Okay. Perhaps the most important question: veil or no veil?
Veil. Always a veil.
Veil. Really?
It's the only day of your life that you can wear one without being weird.
So for people who don't know, Jillian owns a bridal shop. So that's why I just threw that little bridal question. I'm not sure I wore a veil. Did I wear a veil? I have no idea. If anyone's watching,
it took me longer to pick out my veil than it did my dress.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't think I wore one. So I'm sorry I broke a cardinal rule in your bridal shop. I did say yes to the dress once. Just once, because I didn't need to twice. Still married. Okay. Porcelain Menagerie. Give us like your elevator pitch. What's the summary of the story?
So the Porcelain Menagerie is about a mad king who holds people and animals hostage in his attempt for glory, memory, and power. He's a real person. All of my stories are about real people, real animals. And the Porcelain Menagerie is a companion to my first book, The Rhino Keeper. I love this book.
Well,
I just do.
This book, so okay, Rhino Keeper in this book, this book is decidedly darker.
Oh yeah.
Like I when I was like preparing for this, I was like, wow, she must have really found it hard to find joy. Like there's not a lot of joy. I mean, you do find it. It's not a depressing book, but it's not easy. I mean,
no, she's not a cozy charmer.
No, she's not. And Rhino Keeper, I felt like was at times because you just sort of like you immersed yourself in Clara and all her little quirks and things, and there's no joy here.
Well, okay, so in my defense, I don't like to alter history that much. And if you look back into this period of history with what this king was actually doing, he was nuts, absolutely bonkers. But I tried to inject a little bit of joy with descriptions of places, people, things, objects, fashion, the real art. The landscape around Dresden and Meissen, Germany are stunning. So the joy comes from, for me in this book, in the detail where you're like, ugh, I could walk down that hallway that has the mossy rocks and, the candles are flickering. So it's very atmospheric. But no, this isn't a pleasant story, and I think that's what bothered me about the entire thing. So, this is a companion because there's one character that repeats. So, it's not like you have to have one for the with to read the other, and
No,
that's
but
why they're
tell us.
not
Let's
like a
link the two
sequel.
together. Let's link the two
Yeah.
stories together.
So when I was researching for the Rhino Keeper, I found that Clara visited a porcelain factory, and I literally was thinking like bull in a china shop stuff. Like it was such
Yeah.
a funny like quirk. But what she was really doing was being studied by the sculptor who wanted to make a life-size menagerie for his king, who held him captive until he got what he wanted. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. And then I found out that that king had like hundreds of mistresses and bastard children and locked his wife in a tower and did all this crazy stuff. And I swear to you, the female character in this book, whose name is Fatima, she knocked at the door of my mind, and I could not stop thinking about her. When I was reading and researching for the Rhino Keeper, she was there. And it felt like if I didn't write her story, she would haunt me for the rest of my life. So I had to do it. And they're connected because the porcelain maker finally gets his backstory. And there's little
Yeah.
hints throughout the Rhino Keeper with his chapter as to why he is the way he is and how things work with him. But it was really a joy I rewrote that entire chapter from his perspective at the end of the Porcelain Menagerie. So you get
Oh,
to read it from,
really?
yeah, if you read it, it's literally word for word verbatim, the exact same. You can go back and see the moment that the Rhino Keeper comes to the castle from the porcelain maker's perspective. That
Who
was so
answered the
fun.
door in the Rhino Keeper? Who answered the door?
How? And that's funny because
It
the publisher
was.
at first was like, "Hey, I need you to cut this guy's name out. He's not important." And I said, "Well, so I have another book, and if you ever want to publish it, he's in there." So it
Well,
worked out for me.
this is interesting though, because I read in your Q&A that you wrote Johan's story first,
I
but
did.
Fatima was the one that was like bugging you.
She was always in his story because it's impossible to separate the two of them. But she was the one who finally I was just gonna write Johan's story straight. I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna mess with her because I didn't know enough about her.
There's nothing
Her
about
the
her. I looked.
I
There's
all
nothing.
yeah. There's nothing. She had 2 bastard children with a king, and she was stolen as a child from Buddha. That's about
Yep.
all we know.
So
That's it.
so she's knocking in your head saying, "Gotta
Uh-huh.
write this story," and you're
Yeah.
like, "I hear you. I'm gonna write it about him." Nicely done, Jillian. I mean, really. And then you get done with his, and you're like, "What? I need more color. I need more perspective. I need more depth. Why? Why the two?"
I found out that her daughter got divorced.
How to
And
remake?
in the 18th century, women of higher standing, a king's bastard daughter even, that was super rare. It wasn't completely uncommon in Germany, but that was super rare, and I was digging and digging and digging for why she got divorced. I could not find it.
No.
Her husband was connected to the king, and then she went on to marry somebody else, and I was like, "Hmm,
Yeah.
what drama unfolded?"
Well, like, not only why would he let her get a divorce, but like, and remarry and live happily ever after. And why? What's so special about
I
this one?
I don't
Out
know.
of the what 300 he's supposed to have, which is probably an exaggeration.
Exactly.
Probably.
It's probably an exaggeration
How
because the
does
British
any
wrote
man
it.
have 300 children? I mean, really.
Well, I mean, there were lots of chambermaids and cooks.
Yeah, but you'd have to get up early in the morning for that. I mean, like, really, right?
We know that he had at least like 10 bastard children
Okay.
and
So,
one legitimate heir.
okay. And so, oh, right, because the wife, the queen didn't live with him. She lived,
No.
right? I'm trying to remember.
After he can
She's not really
Yeah,
in the story.
she's not really a story because she's literally banished to a tower. After he converted to Catholicism and she was a Protestant woman, he was like, "Okay, well you can go live somewhere else if you don't want to convert." And she's like, "Okay, bye." And literally didn't even go to his funeral.
We'll get to the funeral later.
Okay.
It is way too soon to jump to the funeral. Okay. Okay. So going back to the dual timelines, Johann has like the guts of the story, right? Like that is
Mhm.
the porcelain,
Yeah.
like how he got there. I couldn't find, and I'm sure you did, obviously, it's your book, so much more research than I did. But like, how much of his intro story is made up? Like, and why? And like how because you like to be accurate, but I'm
Mhm.
guessing like is Herman real?
Yeah. Um, he had like 9 siblings, and 2 of them lived to adulthood. His father was a Lutheran pastor, and people often feel like they call him, Lutheranism is close to
Yep.
Catholicism in some ways. He had lots of kids. He was in a smaller town, and Johann was essentially like the star of the family. He was immediately noticed in Benjamin Thomae's workshop. Benjamin Thomae was one of the finest sculptors in the 17th, 18th century, because by the time that Johann got to him in the early 1700s, he was an older man. Almost all of the sculptures in Saxony that are still around and that are incredible are from him. So
Really?
those early scenes about Johann and his father and his brother and the mom gone and no other siblings,
So real.
yeah, sadly, I mean, life before modern medicine was ugly, brutish, and
Right.
short. That's just how it was. So while Johann's early childhood isn't well documented as far as like he did this, he said that, because
Right.
quite frankly, Johann was not an important person. That's one of the reasons I really like writing about those types of people.
Yeah.
It was still important for me to be as accurate as I could with what I did know. And I knew that he was the son of a pastor and that hardly any of his siblings lived very long. There's also only 2 portraits of the man that exist,
Yeah.
so that kinda tells you what kind of childhood he would have had, and it also, for me, makes me pause and say, "This is someone who actually did leave a legacy behind." What happened to, like, normal people
Right.
that never you would literally never even know their names, unless you're looking at church records in the cemeteries, and even then, if they couldn't afford a plot in the cemetery or a name placard of some kind, we don't even know who they were.
No.
So, yeah. Yeah, a lot of it, was I don't wanna say fantasized, but I had to come up with fantasies in my mind of what a relationship would have been like with a pastor's child who had a gift in the arts and what his early life would have been like.
So the Herman story, and for those watching, Herman's like his younger brother who has some kind of impairment. I'm not sure if you really define it, what it is, but
I don't
he,
it wouldn't have had a
yeah.
definition back then, so I didn't define it.
So he does pass away at some point, and there's a whole storyline associated with that. Like, is that real? Like the whole
Yeah.
bringing Herman into the castle bit? Like,
Um, there are many bodies in many castles in Europe. I cannot prove where Herman's is. Um, but the Lycandive, the body snatchers, did work for King Augustus for the anatomy chamber. So that's one thing that Augustus really wanted was scientists, actually didn't even call them scientists back then, they called them natural philosophers, who were able to advance Saxony in that way. So he wanted alchemists and chemists, and he wanted anatomists who could draw bodies perfectly and have the best doctors in medicine in the world. But in order to do that, they had to steal bodies from the graveyards. And they had to take people who were hanged or take people from the jails or people who literally washed up by the river shores, and they would take them to the anatomy chamber. And it's true that the body, the more valuable those people were. The body snatchers in the 18th century were all over Europe. They got paid silver coins for strange bodies, for pregnant women, for children, for people with abnormalities. There's one line in the book that says common men were left to rot.
yes,
So,
yeah,
yeah, sometimes you just didn't need them. But for me, Herman's really important because why would a gifted and talented artist like Johann, who's so connected to his family, want to be separated from them? What would make him stay in the castle where the king keeps him captive for the rest
hmm
of art like this? It's not just twofold for his legacy. For me, it was also this undercurrent of what if his brother was with him? And that was one of the reasons that he could not leave.
or he was trying.
So,
He knew he was trying to keep him safe, trying to provide, trying
yeah,
to whatever. Yeah,
always trying to be the big brother for this soul who was so important to him. So
huh.
there's truth and there's not truth because once again, when you have common people, you can't prove anything.
Right, right, right. So let's back up and talk about Augustus for a minute. So like he's awful.
He's awful.
He's not a character, and for anyone watching, that I had ever heard of, and maybe I'm just really poorly read. I don't know. Like I was like, wait, Saxony Augustus who? Like he was like a king, but he had like different titles over time, and I don't. I can't. You understand him? I don't. He was the king
I
ish.
don't know if I want to understand him. He's a psycho.
A
Okay.
psycho.
He's a total psycho. So, for reference, when I said he converted to Catholicism, German was a Protestant state at that time, but he wanted to be king of Poland, which is not that close to Germany, especially when you have to go by heckin' wagon. He wants to be king of Poland. Okay, he's very ambitious. He converts to Catholicism, and Poland does not have a hereditary monarchy. People have to vote. He bribes and cons his way into the kingship by getting people drunk and paying them off to vote for him. Perfect.
For,
Perfect.
it's I mean, it would never happen today.
Oh, I'm sure it wouldn't ever happen today.
But it's like the opposite of Henry VIII, right? Like he was Catholic and decided he wasn't going to be Catholic anymore because he
Well,
wanted to
yeah,
divorce
and I
all his
think
wives.
I think that that's a common ruler that we often think about who does that kind of thing. And people often think about an 18th century king and they think George III and they think King Louis.
Yeah.
Here's what's crazy about King Louis, French Revolution. Um, his great grandfather is a
His what? You just broke up. Is everyone else hearing her? What'd
Did
you
you catch
say?
that there?
No, his grandfather was a what?
Okay. The King Louis, who's beheaded in the French Revolution, his great grandfather is Augustus.
What? His great.
Yes, they're
Okay, and we've never heard of Augustus. Okay. Who's crazy.
I know.
Okay.
But that's because for me, like politically, even though he was king of Poland and he's the elector of Saxony, he really didn't do that much. He built the Zwinger, he built some stunning buildings in Dresden. He remade it as an incredible place. He had great taste in art, but he wasn't good at creating alliances where people actually wanted to work with him. And I think one of the problems was that he had one child who was male, and his wife didn't have any more children with him. And think about the Habsburg, like
Yeah.
literally seeking out to force alliances. All these kingdoms came, but Augustus didn't want to unite anybody. He just wanted power. So I think that's one of the biggest problems is that he had a lot of ambition, but he didn't really accomplish very much.
Okay, let's talk about that because in my very limited research, he has this legacy of art. He brought art
Yeah.
to Saxony, right? Like, I mean, not just porcelain. We know him for porcelain, especially because of your book, but like he's known for being a patron of the arts. I'm not gonna lie, didn't read much deeper than that. I just sort of like read the notes. So you're saying like he was the patron of lots of things, but didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, he didn't do much for the outside kingdom. He didn't do much to lower taxes. He didn't do much for the people.
For the
He didn't do
people.
much to create alliances with others. He just wanted things to be beautiful. I mean, good for him. He made Dresden one of the most stunning cities. And up until it was firebombed during World War II, it was truly a gem in Europe. He still claims one of the largest treasure collections in the world, and you can go to the Green Vault in Dresden and see it. And I saw it. I went, and it is the highest security of any museum I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of museums. There's airlocks to get through. The place was robbed in 2019 and they stole some priceless jewels. I know it's very interesting. So if you want to
Like the
look up
Louvre this week.
yeah, literally, it's the same scenario.
They just
No,
put
they
a ladder
recovered
up.
some. I know they didn't put a ladder up. They literally just walked in. This is all ground floor. So Augustus had paintings and sculptures and lots of animals because, as we all know, because of all of the menageries
Collections.
around Europe, they were super popular, and anything that was expensive he wanted, and that's what he got. By the time he was done, I think he put like, oh, I used to know this number. He put Saxony in like 35 million thaler in debt. Like he was
Wow.
not doing good. The leadership was not there. And it was really hard for Saxony to recover. And a lot of readers have asked me, there's one snippet in the book where he trades 600 armed soldiers for
For some
porcelain.
vases or whatnot.
That's totally true. I have seen those vases. They're called the dragoon vases. They're like the size of my child. But why would you trade human lives for art? And if you think about that, it's because he did not care about human lives.
Well, that was one. Okay, next card.
I love it.
Humanity.
Yeah.
Like he has no humanity. Okay, so he doesn't care about his wife, his child. He has, I think he's obsessed, but it's sort of about collections of things, right? So he has collections of art, which is the porcelain, and then everything you said, which I didn't really know about. The animals, which was that triggered from like Fatima? Was that no?
No, he had tons of collections of animals around Saxony because he had all these hunting spots that he would go to. It just depended on like where he was. So, and some he had like collections of horses and collections of deer and collections of hunting dogs. It just depended on where he was and what he had.
And then collections of people.
Collections of people.
The women, which were like never ending. Yep. And then I'm sure, and this is the thing, your story only deals with the artists in this niche. Like, what
Yeah.
other collections of people did he have that you don't address in this book?
Um,
You know?
well, if you
Like,
think about it, like an artist who's getting paid isn't like a collection, but it kind of is if his only patron is Augustus and that's the only person he's allowed to do work for. So you have to think
yeah.
about like Benjamin Tomei, but there were goldsmiths and jewelers who made him all of these stunning things that still are there. Like they're considered some of the most beautiful works of art ever. He had a clothing maker that was absolutely, I saw some of Augustus's clothing. It just gave me the willies. Like my heebies were
When
totally
you
GB'd.
describe what he looks like in the book, it gives me the willies. It was like all the
Yeah,
tights
no,
and
you
he's
have to look him up.
sweating and
I had an early reader who said, "Well, you describe him like you really know what he looks like." I said, "This man had a lot of portraits drawn. Look him up.
yeah.
He had these crazy eyebrows and double chins and elaborate wigs. He kind of looked like Hook on, Hook, the Robin Williams movie, but he was
Yep.
much larger. He was considered the Hercules of Saxony. Like this man had no chill. At one point, he picked up a street urchin by the hair and carried it around during a parade. We're talking a child. But you say he didn't have any humanity. I actually think that he did. He had a lot of humanity for several reasons. First, he saw value in things that were rare, and that is not necessarily a good trend all the time, but it is very much a human quality. He also saw very much so having something that was irreplaceable, like Fatima, like
Mhm.
Albrechtsberg, even like Hao, the Chinese man who works in Albrechtsberg. You cannot replace those things. He wants it, and he wants to keep it safe, and he wants to keep it secret. So there's like little moments where Augustus shows his humanity. And at the end of everything, when he and Fatima finally have an understanding of themselves, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but
But
you
don't do
see,
it
I
because
won't, you see
that was
his,
fun.
yeah, you see his biggest moments of humanity when he is facing who I truly consider to be the love of his life. He loves Fatima. He doesn't know how to show her that. And she, in return, doesn't know how to accept someone's love who's he's very, very difficult to get along with.
Do we think she loved him
This
though?
book,
Like,
and I know he loved her. There's really no other explanation for why he did what he did with her at the end of chapter 32.
with
However, I know there's a little dollop. You got to get to chapter 32. However, I had to write him as history saw him, which was full of ambition and even
cruel.
his and cruel. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, because I was prepared for angst because you talk about the fox throwing. At the beginning, you warn people that that's coming, and it was horrible. But it was one chapter. Thank you. I think keeping it like kind of locked. Maybe it was two, locked and loaded. Two chapters.
Yeah, it's one.
It's one
It's
chapter.
one.
Okay. But like it's locked and
Yeah.
loaded, and then I could move past it.
Right.
But what's so amazing to me is so like if you look back at the Rhino Keeper, you love animals. You are. I mean, you love rhinos, but like you love animals, and you cherished Clara throughout this, right? We
Oh
talked
yeah.
about her born, she's your baby.
She's my baby.
And then to write a story where someone brutalizes them and abuses them and neglects them and beats them and murders them is an interesting angle for someone like you.
So, I think that's a really good point. And let me be the first to tell you that I bawled my eyes out when I wrote the last few scenes of The Rhino Keeper, and I bawled my eyes out when I wrote chapter 30 of The Porcelain Menagerie.
Mhm.
Why did I have to do both of those things to my readers? Because we need to wake up.
Mhm.
I say in my content warning that if this does not leave you angry at the end, then something is up. I can't gloss over the fact that blood sport was a status in the 18th century, and blood sport still is a status in
Mhm.
some cultures. For me, knowing that there were hundreds of animals who, just like Clara, didn't have good lives in some aspects and they will never be talked about because it's too difficult to talk about is disrespectful to an entire species. I was doing so much research on the blood sports that Augustus participated in. There were three main ones. The hunting, everybody can stomach.
Yep.
The fox tossing, people normally don't know what it is.
Right. It's
And
odd. It sounds
they've never
odd.
heard of it. It's
Mhm.
weird. It really truly is. The third one, I chose not to even put in because it made me so sick. As an animal lover, as someone who worked with livestock and 4-H and has rescue dogs and strange cats, as someone who donates a portion of the proceeds of every sale of the Rhino Keeper to rhino conservation, and as someone who sat in front of a male lion so that I could get to know him at a wildlife refuge nearby, just to smell the lion's smell for several hours. I can't tell you how important it is to me to also write about the tough stuff. We can't assume that every animal story is going to be a good one because the way that people treat animals is a reflection of the way that culture treats them. If you are small and innocent
Wow.
and easy to pick on, you're going to get picked on. And that's exactly what Augustus did. The fox tossing, the menagerie, even the porcelain menagerie, all of that is allegory. All of it is a metaphor for what people in power think that they can do to others who are weaker. People who are born lower, people who are not the same gender, people who don't have the same ambitions. It's the exact same thing. You can literally toss all of their dreams up in the air and watch them just die because you think you have the power to do so. And when I learned all of this and this story and found out what this man did and found out who stood up to say, you have to stop this, that's why Fatima just knocked and knocked and knocked at my door.
Yeah. No, that's a good circle back moment on her. You know what I mean? That she was the
Mhm.
one who showed, well, I mean, she showed his humanity, and she is the, I mean,
Yeah.
look, Johan's human too. He's such a nice guy. But like they carry the
He's so nice.
soul.
He's a cinnamon roll.
A
Yes.
cinnamon roll? What?
Yeah, Johan's a cinnamon roll. He's so sweet and he's a little
I've never heard
round
of
and
cinnamon
he's
roll. Am I like really? That's a thing to
I
describe
don't
someone as a
know.
cinnamon roll? What
He's
is that?
totally a
You?
cinnamon roll. Yeah, well,
Is that
I
like
think I
a
had an early editor say that he's just a cinnamon roll of a main character. He's just so easy to read. I said, yeah, he's great, isn't he? Like Johan, he's so chill the whole time until women challenge him and say, no, sir, that's not how we treat others. And then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm learning from you, which I love about him. He's great.
Are you still there? Just
Yes,
hiccuped
I'm
on us, I
here.
think.
Sorry, I lost you for a second. I'm like, oh, we
Yeah, I
fell
know. I
away.
don't know what's going on. I've got like 5 bars, but I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah, me too.
probably
It's
me.
fine. It's probably the internet.
Well, I did, you know what's so funny? Not to go off topic, but I literally thought, I was like, what if StreamYard's down tonight? Like I was like, down detector, is StreamYard okay? Like, do we use Amazon services? Okay, so let's go to porcelain.
Okay.
Because the book's called Porcelain Menagerie, and it's like the ribbon that holds the darn thing together.
Yeah.
And you got to go to the factory, and like I have pictures to show. Like I actually have pictures. I was gonna post them tomorrow, but then I'm doing like the travel, like, and I was like, no, I'm gonna save them. Um, but like I'm trying to think like how to get to where I want to go with this. But like it's just like a mask really for like all of the things that are happening behind the scene. Like you titled it The Porcelain Menagerie, but it has like not nothing to do with porcelain. But like the book is not a I mean it's about porcelain, but it's not about porcelain. I don't need like
Yeah.
I'm not feeling eloquent right now. Like I'm like, how do I'm sure there's a card, but now they're all scattered because you've been jumping all over the place.
So
Like,
people think that they're like, what do all these, these beautiful breakable animals have to do with this? But the word porcelain to people can convey different things. To me, it means something totally
I
different.
knew there was a meaning behind this.
Oh
I
yeah.
worked hard about the
So
title. It's right
yeah,
here.
there you go. Oh, I see it. See, porcelain is breakable, and so people just automatically assume like, oh, this is something that may, shatter, right? And then when you see menagerie, you assume, okay, so your brain first goes to animals, and then second goes behind bars. So
Mhm.
really, you have breakable things that are behind bars, but they're
Ah,
already right. They're already behind bars. Like why do you need them to be breakable as well? But so really, both of those things are Fatima and Johann together. And if you
yeah.
think about it, it's also Botger, who we have not talked about. The original porcelain maker Botger was literally held captive until his untimely
He
death
was
at the age of
chained, right? Don't
37.
you talk about that. He was chained into the castle or in the castle.
He literally was chained to the castle floor because he could not produce what the king wanted. Um, it's disturbing to know. But all of these people are porcelain. They're gonna break. There's no way they can stand up to the Elector of Saxony, the King of Poland. They can't do it. He's far too scary for them. The menagerie bit is like, okay, so what if you're a caged bird, beast of prey behind bars the whole time?
Like the lion, yeah.
Like the lion. Hmm.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. But then, okay, let's just take this and run with it.
Okay.
Augustus.
Yeah.
I mean, he is obviously the one who's in control of power and everything, but is he a slave of his own obsessions?
Do you want to know my honest truth?
No, because we wouldn't want honesty or anything interesting from you, just
I think he probably had syphilis and it rotted out his brain. I think that's what
ah,
it was.
syphilis was common.
It was so common. I mean, you got that many bastard children. What do you expect to have happen? No, I think Augustus was, well, remember too, he was a little brother. He was never supposed to be king. He's never supposed to be Elector of Saxony. I think that he was always that little brother who was trying to, wear the big boy pants. And then when his big brother died after contracting smallpox from his mistress, oh, maybe we should learn from him. He was thrust into a role that he never really expected. And since he lived his whole youth as a playboy, he just didn't really know what to do. You also have to assume that when you're watching these other incredible, like kings, like you've got Louis the Sun King going on at the same time, who's making France, just one of the most prolific, beautiful kingdoms in the entire world. And you've got this guy who's like, okay, well, maybe I can do the same thing. So he just didn't know much. I feel like he
Yeah.
probably, but was he a piece of porcelain or was he a beast behind bars? I don't think he was either. I think he was
Yeah.
always a beast, who was loose from his cage with no control at all.
Well, and that's what I mean, you find like, modern society, I was gonna say men, but then that's sexist, so I'll say men and women, like that get too much power before they've fully matured, right? So he has this
Yes.
immense power and control, and he's probably an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Like his soul and his maturity are like this youthful guy, and everything is just his plaything.
Yeah. Everything is just his plaything. And that's very common for a lot of early modern European rulers, especially the ones who weren't never supposed to be king. That's pretty easy.
Or queen?
You just fall
Is that
into
the
this,
same for
oh,
women?
or queen. Yeah, the queens were a lot more rare. So I
I'm
mean,
like
if you
thinking
think about like,
Elizabeth, Mary, and I'm thinking like the English queens
yeah,
because I know
no,
that.
she's earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about like Marie Antoinette's
Mhm.
mother, she was so determined to prove herself that she did not allow any nonsense like this to happen. No, she really took care of her people. So there is a big difference between a woman and a man in that sense. But I think it's difficult to say this without being sexist, but
I know.
Augustus's manhood made a lot of his decisions for him, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, that was the whole reason that Fatima was even came to court, right? Because
Yeah,
she was
exactly.
the I don't know what the official title was, but the
The
helper,
miss Yeah, she was the mistress's handmaid and then
the
became a mistress
handmaiden. Yeah, I
herself.
was like, what's that term?
Yeah. But she was purchased, so she was essentially a slave from the beginning.
As a child, right? She was purchased as a child.
She was a war prize.
Great.
Great.
Is there a scene in the book where we see, because we talked about Augustus' humanity, where we see that humanity shine through? Like I was thinking when he lets her have the animals.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I was gonna say well, we don't see him letting Katerina get divorced, do we? We just hear about it. No, and
We
he's
just
not
hear about
kind
it.
to her.
I actually think it's early on when he takes Fatima to go see the first porcelain come out of the kiln. We see such joy with him and Batgir and Fatima down in that
Yeah,
weird little basement where he's just like a
it was
little
like
boy.
hot
He's like,
and
yeah, look
mm,
at this. This is so cool. Like we see Augustus just full of joy. And he loves playing tennis. The man loves a good feast. And when he's at his party later on, when he breaks the horseshoe, that is Augustus
oh
in
yeah,
all of his full splendor. He is just in his element when he is allowed to show people how impressive he is. Good for him. If a man needs to show off or a woman needs to show off, that's the way to do it. Show your strength, show your prowess, but really, he was always just so intimidating for me to write, and it was hard to write good moments about him. But I think his best
Mhm.
moment is something that I haven't. I think I'm gonna spoil it if I reveal it. So let me think about how to explain it
Yeah,
without
you have
spoiling
to
it.
speak in code.
His his best moment is when he's able to let go of something important to him toward the end of the book. I'll text you later. You're
I know.
like, what is it?
I'm like walking through the book, like in my head, going, "Which scene is that?" Let's.
It's,
Oh,
yeah, it's like, mhm,
oh. See, and I
yeah,
thought that was
that's his best
cold.
moment.
If we're talking about the same, I thought it
Thought
was
that was
like,
cold. I thought it was like a relief. I love that
well,
interpretation though. It is cold.
because I can see now how you thought it was like a gift.
Mhm.
I hope we're talking about the same thing, right? Like maybe we're talking about two different things and I'm just completely misinterpreting it.
I'm literally gonna text you.
I know. I'm like, wait a minute. Was there someone else was in the room
Yep.
and that someone else was like kind of thrown,
Yep.
like surprised.
Yeah.
And that someone else you think was comforted in this or was like, what does this
Maybe
mean
just
for
like
me?
it felt like an end. Like, oh my God, it's over.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying like, I don't know what's a spoiler anymore, like, it's
I
all
know
just
it's so
running
hard.
together.
This book is really hard to talk about without getting spoilers. It truly is. There's so much that happens in this book. And it's funny because one of the things I've been desperate to talk about is the shipwreck that I cannot talk about without giving away so much. I know. We have to have book clubs sometime for people who have read this so we can talk about the shipwreck because that was so hard on me. I'm not gonna lie.
Is there more of a story to be told with the shipwreck?
Oh yeah, it's a true story.
Did you write a book on it? Is it, like, waiting on the
No,
shelf right now?
no.
'Cause so we're at 40 minutes, I can't believe it, but, like, okay, Rhino Keeper led to
Uh-huh,
this, led
uh-huh.
to Porcelain Menagerie.
Mhm.
I was sitting there going, "Alright, what is the thing from this book that becomes another book?" And I was like,
Ooh,
"Fatima?" And I was like, "No, Katerina? Maybe. The
maybe.
Shipwreck? Maybe."
That
Like
shipwreck would be insane to write about. It's still at the bottom of the sea. So there's a shipwreck at the bottom of the South
yeah,
China Sea that's full of porcelain.
you can
It's
tell this, right?
crazy.
Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah.
it's not
It's
integral.
it's just
It's just
yeah, it's just
yeah.
truth. Like the Chinese import of porcelain was done mostly by the Dutch, and so of course, like there's shipwrecks all over the world, right? But this one's full of porcelain. It's like 50,000 pieces of porcelain, and they started bringing up bits and pieces of it now, and so some of it is in a museum that's owned by the Chinese government, and they've like started to bring up the whole ship, and it's like glorious and muddy and just all of these
They're
perfectly
bringing up the ship?
yeah,
I'm
they're like
picturing we just
stacked
watched
plates.
Goonies, and I'm
Do you know?
picturing the Goonies scene? Am I
Of
dating
course I
myself?
do.
Yeah, like One-Eyed Willie and the ship comes out and they're like, "What?" That's that's what I'm picturing, except it's
Do you
full of
know what a
porcelain.
dork I am? Listen, I've literally been to Astoria, Oregon to the Goonies house like a huge
What?
nerd. Yes. I love the Goonies. We could go off on a tangent. Anyway, the shipwreck is totally real. And there's like stacks of perfect 16th, 8th, 17th century porcelain that just exist. And I'm like, what the heck? Do you know how much the kings in the 18th century would have paid for that stuff?
Well, what's
Oh,
the story though? Where
insane.
do you take that?
I don't know.
Julie just said, "Ooh, dual timeline shipwreck story maybe."
I'd
Wait,
have
like
to go to
someone was
China to a
gone?
shipwreck museum. Sounds like a really hard thing for me to have to go
I know,
to.
but there's gotta be somebody with pain and suffering and maybe a hurt animal in there really to make it a genuine
Absolutely.
book.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no worries about that. I'll definitely be able to
Wait a
find
minute, both
something.
of your books have ships in them.
Yep. Did you know that my master's thesis was partially on female pirates in the 18th century?
You told me this. Yes. I wanna read it. You
So
sent it to me?
that's why. Oh, it's on academia.edu if anyone would like to read my master's thesis. It is
Because
available.
I think we talked about that because I've read a lot of those books about the women that were shipped from Europe, well, to America, and then
Yeah.
shipped to Australia. Like the
Yes.
criminals and crazies that they were like, "Yes, we will use you to repopulate the earth." Like,
And that's pretty much what happened to Australia.
you actually write a good book about that. That would be
I
good.
could. So
Well, I
the
guess
thing for me is like I want to be able to write about places that I can easily go to. And so of course in like 500 BCE Babylon, I can't go there.
right. Well, I mean, you could. It just, yeah, yeah.
So like that one I kind of went off on a tangent. But the other books that are in my brain. So next year I go to France twice for my writing, and there's a chateau there that I'm visiting for my work in progress right now that I'm really excited about, which is another 18th century piece. So that one I'm pumped. So I get to
It's
actually go
not
see
connected
that
to these.
place. No, it's not connected to these. It couldn't be. Well, I bet you Clara went there at one point because she went everywhere.
See?
But no, it's not. But everyone keeps asking me to
Write
write
her in.
Zubin's story. I know. Everyone keeps asking me to write Zubin's story. But here's the thing, and Howe's story too would be incredible. Howe's another character in the Porcelain Menagerie. So those two people for me would be difficult to write because as I'm not a person of color, I would definitely guide someone who wanted to write those two people of
Yeah.
color's stories in a way that is more fulfilling for their cultural norms. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to do that, but if any writers out there are like, I love Zubin, I would love to take that. People have asked me for his story after the Rhino Keeper so many times, and it would really be incredible. Of course, I would help, but
But
yeah,
he's like
it would be
pseudo
hard.
fully invented, other than like the
There's two
mention of a
portraits of
sidekick.
him. Yeah, there's two portraits of him, but other than that, he's fully invented.
Yeah. So I mean, it
Yeah.
would be like, I mean, I guess it's still historical fiction, but he's a
Yeah.
completely fictional character in a historical setting.
Ish, because if two portraits exist of a man and one portrait exists of a porcelain maker,
Hmm.
right?
How your brain works, man. I would be like, wonder who that was. What are we having
There's
for
a
dinner?
lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff.
And you go, I wonder who that is.
Hmm.
I'll just spend the next 3 years researching it.
Yeah, I can. It would never bore me.
So I was thinking though, so that's interesting. So you have a work in progress that is not related to these two.
Mm-mm.
Because I was thinking this would make a nice little set of 3, but you need a third book.
Oh, fine. I'll find something.
Right? I mean, like it come in its little collective like set of 3 box.
Actually, I had a really good idea. Do you remember the tavern keeper in the Rhino
Yes.
Keeper? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking about her a lot too because how does a
What's her name?
Scottish woman, her name is Herzette. How does
Yes.
this, yeah, she's great. How does a Scottish woman end up in India?
Because he asks her that, right? They're
He
like,
does,
how'd you
and
end up down here?
she totally dodges the question.
But
I know, I really like her. So I might do
then
that.
how do you weave that into something that has to do with hurt animals? I know.
I can
I feel
figure
like
it out.
we should have Julie's on and she's watching. Oh, she was a French culture major. Julie's your girl. Julie.
Hey, Julie's my girl anyway. I love her.
I know she is. Um, I feel like we should have like I think it would be like me, you, and Julie. You know, in case anyone else wants to join, like let's go through the 2 books and write every possible third book storyline. Right? Like who could it be?
I would love that. That would be so amazing.
Like remember
Honestly.
the surprise when I was doing the Q&A with you on Rhino Keeper, because of course now my head's in this one. The sailor? Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
I love her.
that would give
That sailor would be really easy because she's actually based on there's a person who transnavigated the globe named Jean Beret, who was the first woman to she gathered plant specimens. Did you know that she's based on a real character too?
really, because she had a greenhouse in the Rhino Keeper.
Mhm.
Okay.
I really
Julie,
try to make everything like based on truth. Like I
well,
really, really do.
Julie was saying when you come to DC, is that like a planned thing that I don't know about? You're coming. Okay.
No, but apparently it's gonna happen.
Okay. That we come meet you and then we bring lots of paper and we and we go through every like you haven't asked for this, right? You're going, no, I don't want to hang out with you.
Okay.
Right?
No, I'm totally down. Like let's
Every
do it.
character that we could like have a spin-off on.
Sure.
I mean, what about the guy who loved Fatima? No, there are 2.
Oh my God, the guys.
The
Oh my gosh,
guys.
There's 3 guys who love Fatima. The woman was stunning. What can I say? Augustus
Well, I
counts.
was like, I want to see what she looks like, but I'm sure she was stunning.
There's one portrait of her, but here's the problem I have with the one portrait of her is that it looks like the portraits of Augustus's other mistresses, so I don't know how accurate it is. But then when I was in Dresden at the Porcelain Museum, which I basically had a mental breakdown in, and I'm pretty sure that all the guards there thought I was going to steal something.
But your family was there. Who's gonna steal something like running outside with your daughter? Like,
no, I think they were like, "What is this American woman doing? Like, why is she so excited about porcelain?" I'm like, "I can't tell you. You're not. I don't speak enough German." No, literally, I walked into the room with a real Porcelain Menagerie, and I had to go like this the whole time because I is the porcelain rhino. Both of them. One of them in pure white, one of them that they cold painted, and all of her paint has flaked off. They're the largest ones. They're flanking the door, and I just like crumble. I'm like, oh my God, there she is. Like, that's probably like the closest that I could get to breathing in the same air as that creature. And it was so amazing. But when I was in Dresden, I don't even know where I was going with that. When I was in Dresden, what was I going to say? Oh, okay, so I looked really slowly at all the porcelain people because I know that Johann used real people as models. And I have one picture that I've been sharing on my socials of Fatima's portrait and one of the porcelain figures that he made, and their faces, I can't tell you how close they are to each other. I literally have goosebumps. I'm like,
I'm mad that I like didn't
has
notice
to be
it. You have them side by side?
I have them side by side. It has to be her. Like, you look at the picture and you're like, wait,
It'd be
what?
totally inappropriate for me to get on my phone and start going through my pictures right now. I'm like, no, put your phone down. You can look at it later.
You can look at it later. It's on my socials if anyone wants to see it. They're too close in their face shape and the way their noses look. I don't know if it is her or not. Or maybe it's Katerina. It's very possible. But there's way too much of a correlation between those two appearances of people for it to just be a coincidence.
So Katerina, is that a story that needs to be told?
Maybe. I have
Interesting enough?
searched and searched all of the records for as much as I could possibly find of her life, poor thing. I mean, you're the bastard daughter of a king. You're gonna get money.
You're sold off.
But
I mean, not really, but married
you're
off.
you're sold off. You're married off for whatever the king needs in that moment from you. And that's so sad because as a woman who didn't choose to be the bastard daughter of a king, she lost all of her agency the minute she was conceived. I hate that for her. But I also love that she got some of it back because she had her daddy approve a divorce.
So, I mean, let's not get weird, but don't most children lose all of their power when they're born? Because we decide what they do for the first 20 years. Your daughter would disagree.
No, here's why. Because usually later
my
on
son would disagree.
Yeah, like you could just choose what you want to do for the most part, right?
Yeah.
But if you're the bastard daughter of a king, like you're already predestined to do whatever he wants you to do.
Yeah.
Sucks. Yeah.
Or any daughter of a king, really. I mean, it's not like any of them get much say in who they marry.
So Augustus also had a bastard child with Aurora, who is Fatima's mistress, who was basically like in charge of her.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He went on to be like a huge general in the French army.
Huh.
Yeah. He's very handsome. You should look up pictures of him.
Julie's giving Katerina some props because she said she stood up to the king.
She did.
And she lived.
I think that Augustus had a soft spot for her. Otherwise, he would never have granted her divorce.
It's just really crazy that
it's weird. Well, maybe that's where Augustus shows his humanity too, because that's not something that I would have predicted that he would have said yes to.
Well, you said, because I trust you now in accuracy, that Fatima was left something in his will, right? Is that right? Was she? Yeah.
The only mistress who was left anything in his will was her $8,000, basically.
Just to make sure whatever that means at the time was taken care of.
There's no explanation. But think about how many mistresses he had, and she's the only one mentioned. Baby girl did something.
And she didn't like it. Pretty sure she didn't like it.
No.
But she, no spoilers. She had her fun isn't the word.
She had we'll just say that Fatima had a happy ending. That's just
what a nice cup that is, Jillian. Where'd you get it?
Oh my gosh, do you like my cup?
Where do I get one like it?
You have to go all the way to Germany to get one like it. Okay, so when I was at the porcelain factory, you can go paint your own porcelain. And this is like the example that they show you. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that. And that's as good as it got for me.
You're so talented in so many
Thank you
ways.
so much. I'm so listen. They shipped it all the way across the ocean. Remember how I say in the book it
Ooh.
takes a long time to make this stuff? You can't just like take it with you that day. No, they gotta ship it.
How long did it take for you to make that beautiful design?
For me. Like the painting. That's terrible.
Like,
Probably like it took me like an hour, okay?
so pretty.
Thank you. And it took him like 6 weeks to like fire it and let it do all the porcelain stuff it has to do to be
Oh,
shiny and make that
yeah. The
pretty
same blue
sound.
paint?
The same blue paint, the copyrighted Meissen blue. I was so nerding out there. It was great. And then there really are blue swords, like the cross swords on the
Let
bottom
me
of
see the
every
bottom of
single
yours.
paint. Well, it's still got like Olipop in it, but I didn't paint those, okay? It was pre-painted.
Oh, all right. All right.
They
I
put a
want to
little
see it.
happy face on the bottom of it so that I wouldn't be depressed when I saw how terrible my
It's
painting
beautiful.
skills were.
But the thing is, it's from the very kiln, right? The
Yeah.
very kilns where they're fired.
Yeah, and I got to touch the raw kaolin clay, and it was in its water cabinet thing, and it was incredible. They took me on a behind the scenes tour. I got to see artists painting their porcelain. It was incredible. They took me to the mold archive, and they told me that they do not ever destroy any of their molds. So Johann's molds that he made back in 1711 are still there, and
Oh,
the place is just stacked to the ceiling, and there's this beautiful light that comes through. You don't need any fluorescence on, and the air there is still it's just kind of cloudy from all the clay dust, and it is just absolutely stunning. There's a ledger book that's ancient, and all of the placards on top where they're alphabetized, you can tell that they haven't been replaced in 100 years. The place is it's unbelievable that Meissen still has a factory in a small town northwest of Dresden. Why not move to Dresden? And the real reason is legacy. They went
yeah.
from a castle on a hill, the oldest castle in Germany, to a factory down the street that could actually hold the modern electricity that they needed. I toured the castle, I toured the kilns, and I have to tell you the story. I don't know if I've really said this yet on any of my socials. I've been kind of holding off because it's very emotional for me. So when I booked our trip to Meissen, I booked it almost a year in advance. And I found this amazing little Airbnb. It was a 14th century apartment building. And it's like you could stay at the very top, and that's where we stayed. And there's a princess tower and a big garden wall, and it's overlooking the Elbe and the river, and the castle is right outside. So we get there and we realize that there's no Uber in Germany. So you have to walk all the way up the cobbled streets, and it's a city on a hill. So you're walking up this hill, and we get all the way to the top, and we're absolutely winded, and the view is insane. We go to dinner the first night, and I noticed a sign on the restaurant next door, and I kind of poke my head out, and it says this was the home of Johann Candler. So that was glimmer number one, that he was right there, because the first restaurant we
Oh,
chose, he had lived next door. Then as our trip started to end, we spent several days in Meissen. As I said, I wonder where Johann's grave is. And I
oh,
said, well, he's probably buried in Dresden, would be my guess, and like in one of the royal cemeteries because he was such a favored artist. And so I go to find a grave and I look it up, and it says this actually is in Meissen. I said, oh my gosh, well let's go and see if we can find it, because you have to cross the river to get to part of Meissen, and the older part of Meissen's on the riverside that we're on. So we're down in Old Town, and there's just beautiful restaurants and shops down there. It's really a little fairy tale village. And I set my GPS to take us to Johann's grave. And we start walking back up the same hill that we had walked up when we first went to our Airbnb. And I'm like, this is so strange and so close. Like, what? This feels so familiar. And my husband's like, yeah, let me see the map. And he looks at it, and I look at it, and we're like, huh. We keep walking. You can probably hear my cat screaming, by the way. She loves this story, apparently. Good. So we keep walking, and we get to a churchyard that's directly across the street from our Airbnb. And I look up, and I can see our windows that we're looking down into the churchyard. And I step into the churchyard, and I wander around for a little bit. And the only grave that is facing our windows is Johann's grave. The entire time that we were staying
he was
there,
watching
we
you.
were we were literally right by his final resting place. And his grave is about 4 feet tall. It's enormous. It's carved with beautiful artistry, and there's books on it and skeletons. And it says Johann Joachim Candler, the king's favorite sculptor. It is beautiful and astounding. And my daughter picked flowers for his grave. And the next day, right when we were about to leave, I took my copy of the book and I went and read him a passage of it. And I said, I know that your legacy lives on through porcelain, but I just wanted to let you know that because you have lived with me for so long in my mind, it was just such a privilege to just sit there with him for a second. The church bells were ringing, the birds were chirping. It was every author's dream. Like, it was absolutely insane to say, I've sat beside him, you know. Yeah.
What would he think of his legacy now?
The fact
Not
that
5 years
his
ago, but now.
Yeah, now the fact
Yeah.
that his art still lives is exactly what every artist wants. 300 years later, and a woman from Kansas in a country that hadn't even been formed yet. The United States was formed the year he died, okay? The fact that I crossed the globe to find his art, and that every time I go into an antique store, I search for his mark on the bottom of something, that means for me, if that would ever happen to me, that my books would live that long,
Yeah.
would just be one of those soul moments, you know, where it's like, okay, I made it. But knowing that museums around the world still keep his items safe, that his porcelain menagerie survived the bombing of Dresden in 1945. And I asked every single museum curator that I meet to talk about porcelain, what would you consider the masterpiece in the world of porcelain? And most of them have said it is Meissen's porcelain menagerie. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm curious, 200 years from now, if someone wrote a story like yours about you, like, would you be honored or a bit horrified? Like, that
Both.
someone tried to get into your head that much?
Remember how we were talking about humanity and
Yeah.
how we're always afraid of who we might turn out to be?
Mhm.
To Augustus, he was the hero of his story. He brought art
Mhm.
and beauty to the city of Dresden and made it a cosmopolitan place to be. Um, and so I think that anyone who has their story told, especially if they're an obscure character where a lot of facts are gone and all that's left are the things that they literally left behind to tell someone's story. But there's also, for me, this meaning that says a common person who only produces art for the sake of producing art deserves to be remembered. And museums around the world agree. And I think people who read this book will agree. Like, there's no way that we should forget that the artists who make things that we love, that we shouldn't know the color of their eyes or the way
Yeah.
that their hair was or what their little brothers' names were. Like, we should know those things because politicians, celebrities, they may not make things that last forever. And if they do, sometimes we think of them in negative ways. But if you look at a piece of art and say, wow, you should probably figure out who made it because those are those moments that connect us to the past.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and for opening
I
your
love
heart.
it. Yeah, thank you.
Julie says, Julie, did you say you're going to Dresden? She said, I'm going in November. Did you know this?
Oh,
Did
no!
you mean Dresden, Julie, or where are you going? Text me. She's
She's
got,
gonna have to text me. I have so many recommendations. And if anyone is going to Germany or to Prague, because Prague also has a Meissen store. So if you're going that
yeah,
way, please let me know and I can tell you the best places to go. If you are in Dresden, Meissen is a 20-minute train ride. It's so easy to get there. It's such a small city. It's so easy to navigate. The porcelain tours are open and you can go to Albrechtsberg, the castle in which this is set, and tour that place too.
do you feel like you're going to break everything in that building when you're in that building? I mean, is it like so intimidating? You're like, do not touch anything.
Yeah, I know. I just want to touch it.
I know, but you brought a kid. I mean, granted, she's not like little.
Well,
But, like,
so if you're my child and your name is Phoebe and you are newly 10, then you have been to about a bazillion museums, antique malls, and you have things around the house that normal children would not know. She's an anomaly. She's
I
wonderful.
my sister and I make fun of my parents all the time because of the number of pictures that we have on Canons, which might be 5, but it felt like everywhere we went, they were like, "Hey, girls, pose with the Canon," and we're like, like, this
You
is
need to
me
make a
at 7.
collage, honestly.
Yeah,
Please,
but
please
so
make a
your
collage of
daughter's
those.
digging it. My kid also
Oh
likes
yeah,
the
yeah.
Canon.
Yeah,
I'm kind of up
sometimes
to
she's
there
like,
with
"Mom, do you
Tammy.
want to go to the antique mall?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So we just go do stuff. Yeah, she's great.
All right, so now I'm gonna start looking for the swords on the back of all the porcelain. I mean,
Yes,
how often do you
so
find it?
I have found I call it in the wild. In the
Yeah.
wild, I found like 3 or 4 pieces of Meissen, but
Okay.
I'm in Kansas. Like that's kind of rare. So you can see it on this one. I think it's stamped, right? You can see little
Yeah.
cross swords given away tomorrow. So if you pre-order, then you could possibly win a piece of the Meissen
All
Porcelain
right.
Menagerie. And then the
Everybody
blue
get online
ones
and
are pretty
pre-order.
easy. Yeah, and then you can see the blue ones. They're so pretty, aren't they? And
Well,
actually, oh my gosh, I have to show you my nails. Look, I have a little
no, you did
gold
not.
cross swords. Yeah.
You did not.
Yeah.
For tomorrow.
For
Like,
tomorrow.
how did you do that? You walked into your nail salon and said, I want swords on my nails? And they were like, okay. See, I'm so uninteresting. I just have like a color.
Well, my nail tech knew I was going to Germany, and then when I got there, because I made my nails porcelain white for my trip to Germany, and then I had the blue on them, which was incredible.
Oh,
I go into this tiny shop in Meissen, and this old man had the swords tattooed on his hand. He's the antique store owner, and all he does is like porcelain trading. And
so
he saw my
when
nails
are
and
you
he's like,
getting your
"What is
tattoo?
this?" Yeah, I need to get a tattoo.
A
Everyone told me
rhino
that.
with
I know.
swords.
I know. Ugh, I need to go do
I
it.
did. I was gonna try to get you one of these. This is that. So this remember. So I'm cleaning out my office, and I'm like, do like things you buy at art festivals, and I'm like, what? Why do I have a rhino? I mean,
It's
it's
a
not an
rhino
Indian
on top
rhino,
of
is it?
a thing of nuts. Yeah, it's totally the right species and everything.
It
I
is.
don't know. I don't. Yeah, that's totally an Indian rhino.
This is Luann Kaufman, and it's called something nuts. It's called tough nuts or something like that.
Tough is I like it. Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, rhinos are pretty tough.
Well, I mean, I was like, well, now this, like, I bought this 20 years ago. Like, what? I don't. Okay, I'm gonna frame it. I think I'm gonna put it like back here somewhere.
You
So
have
it
to.
has like a place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
All right. Are you ready for the review?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously horrible. I didn't enjoy the book at all. Okay, here we go. I'll read it to you. I need glasses now, but I'm not going to wear them, so I may stumble because I
I'm
don't
so
want to.
proud of you.
I know. Old eyes. The Porcelain Menagerie by Jillian Forsberg is a haunting tale set during the reign of Augustus the Strong, Saxony. This novel intertwines the parallel narratives of Fatima. Oh, I can't say her last name. Carmen.
Kariman,
Yeah,
probably one of
probably
those.
better than mine. The King's Mistress and Johann Joachim Candler, the renowned sculptor of Meissen porcelain, both living in the wake of King Augustus' many obsessions. While history often celebrates kings, in this novel, Forsberg shifts the spotlight to those in the margins, the forgotten, the silenced, and yes, the survivors. She paints a vivid and unflattering portrait of power, obsession, and the hidden costs of a man's ambition. However, what makes the Porcelain Menagerie truly remarkable is Forsberg's ability to illuminate the dark corners of history and shine a light on the unspoken heroes.
Thank you so much. It means the world to me to get a single word read by anyone. But when I see things like that, it reminds me of why I do this. It's truly amazing to have people enjoy my work. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. But you have a niche, you
I
are
know.
highlighting and featuring the people that history's forgotten, whether they're
Yeah.
animals or humans.
So I'll give you one clue to my third book. Like I said, it was set in ancient Babylon.
Is this the work in progress or is this one done? Because you writers always have
This one's
like
done.
books that are done. Yeah, of course.
This
Okay.
one's done. It's with it. I'm in edits right now. This is I know. I write a book a year. It's fine. So
While running a bridal shop, but okay, sure. I can't even like send snacks to my kids' school and you write
this
books, but just keep going.
exactly. I'm trying to think of how much I want to tell you. I'm just gonna tell you. So I had a bolt of lightning strike my brain. And I was driving, of course, which is really unfortunate because that's always when that happens to me. And I was a pastor's daughter growing up. And I sat front row for so many church services. And I thought to myself, who was in charge of the lions for Daniel in the lion's den?
I think you mentioned this to me now that you're
Yeah,
saying it.
that's my
Yeah.
third book. That's my third book.
Well, who was? Just tell me.
History doesn't tell us through biblical history. Babylonian history says it was probably a woman who was a priestess of Ishtar. So a pagan woman who would have been in charge of lions. And then an old man gets thrown down to her lions. It doesn't really go well for anybody.
No, I wouldn't imagine it would. No.
No,
Okay, so this is in edits. Is
I'm
it the same
so
publisher?
excited.
Same
It's not the
publisher?
same publisher. I actually I've got an agent. We're gonna go and sub for it and see what happens. I do have an
Okay.
offer from History Through Fiction for it. We're gonna see where this one takes me. It's historical fantasy, so it is a little bit different because you can't have you can't have anything set in ancient Babylon not have a thread of magic in it because they believe that magic was real. So
Yeah.
we'll yeah.
Does it have
And then-
religious,
Mhm.
or does it avoid it? Okay, because I'm like, you
It-
could do it either way,
Yeah.
right? It could be
Well,
like,
you can't avoid it, but this is from the perspective of the Lion Keeper. This is her story. So,
is it called The Lion Keeper?
no. I can't tell you the story. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. I have a working title. I'm not in charge of that kind of thing. But
Which is
the
ridiculous.
Lion Keeper.
I mean, obvious. Julie said another untold story. You know what I
Yes,
mean? So that's
exactly.
exciting.
The
And-
focus is on animals.
Julie said, "Have you talked to?" I'm gonna say this name wrong, from a person named Charissa. Have you talked to Saka Lee?
I don't know. I'm not actually reading the screen right now. I'm just looking at your beautiful face. So I don't. I'll DM me, Julie.
I don't know who that is. Yeah, I don't know.
either.
But all right.
Maybe.
Okay. So launch day is tomorrow. Launch day is in my world 3 hours. Right? When does it go live? Like
Midnight, I think. I don't know. I'm not in charge of that kind of stuff. 7 a.m., midnight? I have no idea.
Midnight. Okay. So we'll post a link, obviously, and we'll be covering it tomorrow. And when I get my official like travel book club blog,
Yay.
so we'll have it then. Where can people find you? Obviously, people can buy it on Amazon. Is that what you would prefer?
Yeah, you can. I'm signing all the pre-orders. So if the publisher has, if you order through the publisher's website, then you will get a signed copy. And if you order it through mine, I usually put in a little something special. So you can order through Amazon if that's your preferred way of doing things. We do have an amazing audiobook read by Carolyn Hewitt again.
Yes.
So that sounds just like The Rhino Keeper, which I loved every second of. And wherever you want to get your books. And if you want to request it at your library, I'm always a huge library proponent. So do that. Yeah, do that. Get it into the libraries. And if you want to order Amazon, bookstores.org is always my preferred because they give back to your local bookstore. If you are in the state of Kansas, I think I have like 17 tour stops. And I'm also going to Magic City Books in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I know I need to come East Coast, and I've been having people on the West Coast ask me to come West Coast, and I'm working on it, friends. I got to run a bridal store at the same time down here in Kansas. So
That's not your real accent, is it? Is that your real accent?
No, it just depends on who I'm talking to.
Does it go that far?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Has to.
I'm from Ohio. I have like no discernible anything. Ohio. In Baltimore, we say down the ocean and hole in water.
I don't know what you just said.
Down the ocean? That means when you go to the beach. You go down the ocean.
We don't have beaches here.
Yeah, we have beaches and mountains. We're very special.
Wow.
I know.
You're just bragging now.
Well, I mean, it's not Kansas, but
listen, this state is amazing. It's so pretty here. I love Kansas.
Oz. I mean, you have Oz, right? The origin of magic.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jillian. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Order the book. You have exactly 3 hours. Oh, show the turtle. Show the turtle that they could win.
Look,
pre-order.
Look at him.
You have direct from Meissen, the Meissen factory.
It's not just the turtle. It's also Augustus's biography, a hardcover of The Rhino Keeper, and I went vintage shopping when I was in Meissen, and I got some really cool goodies. So those are going whoever wins too.
All right. So pre-order 3 hours and counting. Jillian, thank you. We'll do this again next time. Yeah.
I love to hear it. Let's do it.
All right. All right. Say goodnight. Bye, everyone. You stay on for a minute, Jillian. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, bye.